What was the face that you made when you realized like Trump was gonna win?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
That was back on my face.
Make the face.
I woke up, I was like, Mom, who won? And he's like, Donald Trump. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Dang, that sucks. And yeah.
He beat Hillary. Everyone said he couldn't do it from the start. Everyone was saying he was just a joke. He sure showed them, didn't he?
I'm just, I'm nervous. I'm scared. Yeah.
I have a lot of friends with this affects, and they're all talking about it. Like we've started a group chat, and they're all very scared, and so it hurts me to see it something like this.
It's just like some of my worst experiences, like, and like kind of just like came into the White House, basically.
I have been like on the Republican side for the whole election, not necessarily a Trump supporter. A lot of anxiety attacks because I think everybody who was watching the election came in and was like, oh, it's gonna be a blowout, Hillary's gonna destroy him. And I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but I was pretty anxious. I didn't know that he would do so well as he did. And I'm kinda happy, but it was a weird feeling that whole night.
The point where he said Trump won, I started clicking refresh. I was denying it so hard, like refresh. And I was waiting for Obama to come out, like, it's a joke, you guys. Hillary won, you know.
If you have two negatives and you don't have that high of an expectation for the race, so yeah, disappointed but expected.
I'm pretty shocked by it. I mean, it was this kind of feeling of welling up towards like heading towards a nightmare, and the nightmare has become reality.
Well, I think that it's more than just Trump's election. I think it's also the Senate and the House and also the Supreme Court. And so that's kind of what's the hardest for me, is that he can have a larger impact on us because he has the other two branches.
There are a lot of people who are protesting right now, and I don't think that's going to change anything. So I'm still in the process of working through what has happened and the result and accepting that, and that's really hard.
I'd like to say two things. First of all, global warming is real. It is not a hoax by the Chinese. Please take this into consideration when doing anything. I hope the world lives for, at least, I don't know, like another billion years. And the other thing is, you're 70, I'm 16, you're probably going to die in the next 25 years. And so, maybe this doesn't affect you for very much longer, but it does affect us because we're young and we're going to live here a long time, and we don't want you to fuck everything up.
Again, this is supposed to be the next representative of our country, and what irritates me even more is that I couldn't do anything in this election because I'm just not old enough to vote. But you see 80-year-olds, 100-year-olds voting for Trump for a future that they won't even be a part of.
It's kind of to me, I found it stupid that they were voting for Harambe and Hennessy. You could have used those votes to actually have a say in instead of having Trump be your president, possibly we didn't have Hillary.
I feel like I personally just need to understand how other people haven't been really understanding. People have been blaming everyone. People have been blaming third-party voters. People have been blaming people in the Midwest and Florida. You need to understand that what these people are going through, you need to understand their struggles in order to truly understand why they do things.
We don't see the side of Trump supporters. So we all wanted Hillary to win. And so just seeing that Trump won shows that how much people were on his side and that we didn't know.
Because I know most of us I have a feeling that most of his supporters aren't at least completely racist, at least completely misogynistic. But they're able to look past, what disappoints me most is that those supporters are able to look past Donald Trump's history and complete undeniable facts that he is racist and that he is misogynistic, that they will still vote him because they hate or they want to go against the system. And to me, that proves that though they might not necessarily be full-on racist or full-on misogynistic, proves they don't care enough about those issues. They don't care enough about the quote unquote others to not vote for someone or vote against someone that is obviously not in their best interest.
Someone who like is a celebrity and just like came up from nowhere and decided that he's gonna run for president against someone who has been in government for many years and is qualified for the job. But outcomes are outcomes, and we just had to respect it.
As a society, we've been trying to like be inclusive and like helping minorities and like accepting LGBTQ, and like it's just really disappointing that like millions of people are picking someone who is totally against what we've been trying to be like inclusive about, and like it's just so like it's like embarrassing to be a part of like the United States where millions of people are agreeing with this homophobic guy who's like, you know, telling people that like, oh, what you're doing is incorrect, like you do it my way, and just like I just think it's really horrid and scary that like what's to come like now that he's our president. Yeah.
As a half Mexican, half white, with a African American brother, and with parents who've like campaigned for different changes, it almost feels like that progress is going to be stopped. We're going to go back like to the 1950s, and all the work people have done doesn't really matter anymore.
Like I sort of like pictured like this election as like we're gonna look back on this in history textbooks, and we're gonna think like we elected like the first woman president, but we're also gonna reflect on how close we came to hitting rock bottom, and then how we built up from that. But that's not what our narrative is gonna be. We're not gonna have like the first president of color and then the first female president. That's not what our legacy is gonna be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our legacy is forever tarnished. I think it's how we hit rock bottom and how we picked ourselves up from rock bottom.
We don't know what's going to happen. We're all very scared of what's going to happen. But I think there's also a sense of revolution brewing underneath. And I think that everyone in our generation does have the power to change whatever is going to happen. I mean, if you look at the way in the 60s, the punk and the hippie, the youth movements of the 60s, the way they responded, they were a backlash to all of the family values in the 50s. I know that's an 80s term, but that's what I have. And I think that our generation has the power to start a neo-punk revolution. So I'm excited for that.
Colored people are basically effed over. LGBTQ is effed over. People who aren't rich are effed over. It's like a lot of people are gonna suffer, and it's like the 1% is gonna benefit, the 99% is gonna suffer. I don't want to see that. In the next 4 years are not gonna be the best years of my life. Yeah.